Hello, adventurers! Welcome to the Global Adventures, the channel where we explore the world and share our experiences with you. Today, we are going to talk about the top 10 countries where Americans are not welcome. Yes, you heard that right. There are some places on this planet where being an American citizen can make you a target of hostility, discrimination, or even violence. Why is that? What are the reasons behind these anti-American sentiments? And how can you avoid them if you still want to visit these countries? Stay tuned to find out. Before we start, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our future videos. Also, let us know in the comments below which of these countries you would still like to visit and why. All right, let's get started with our countdown of the top 10 countries where Americans are not welcome. Number 10, Venezuela. Venezuela is a South American country that has been suffering from a severe economic and political crisis for years. The country is ruled by a socialist regime that blames the United States for its problems and has severed diplomatic ties with Washington. The U.S. government has imposed sanctions on Venezuela and supports the opposition leader Juan Guaido, who claims to be the legitimate president of the country. As a result, many Venezuelans view Americans as enemies and may harass, insult, or attack them on the streets. The U.S. State Department advises its citizens to avoid all travel to Venezuela due to the risk of crime, civil unrest, poor health infrastructure, kidnapping, and arbitrary arrest and detention. Number 9. Iran. Iran is a Middle Eastern country that has a long history of conflict with the United States, dating back to the 1979 Islamic Revolution, when Iranian students stormed the U.S. Embassy in Tehran and held 52 Americans hostage for 444 days. Since then, the two countries have been engaged in a series of disputes over Iran's nuclear program, its support for militant groups in the region, and its involvement in the wars in Iraq and Syria. The U.S. has imposed harsh sanctions on Iran and even assassinated one of its top generals, Qasem Soleimani, in 2020. Iran has responded by threatening to retaliate and by chanting "Death to America" in public rallies. The U.S. State Department warns its citizens not to travel to Iran due to the risk of kidnapping, arrest, detention, and espionage charges. Number 8. North Korea. North Korea is a reclusive and authoritarian country that is known for its nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles, which it claims to be able to reach the U.S. mainland. The country is ruled by Kim Jong-un, the third generation of the Kim dynasty, who has a hostile and unpredictable relationship with the U.S. The two countries have been technically at war since the 1950s, when the Korean War ended with an armistice, but not a peace treaty. The U.S. has imposed sanctions on North Korea and has tried to negotiate its denuclearization, but with little success. North Korea has detained several Americans in the past, accusing them of spying or committing crimes against the state. The U.S. State Department strongly recommends its citizens not to travel to North Korea due to the risk of arrest, detention, torture, and death. Number 7. Pakistan. Pakistan is a South Asian country that is home to more than 200 million people and has a complex and turbulent relationship with the U.S. The two countries have been allies in the war on terror, but have also clashed over Pakistan's support for the Taliban and other extremist groups, its nuclear arsenal, and its rivalry with India. The U.S. has provided billions of dollars in aid to Pakistan, but has also conducted drone strikes and covert operations on its soil, killing civilians and militants alike. The most notorious example was the raid that killed Osama bin Laden, the leader of al-Qaeda, in 2011 in Abbottabad, a city near Islamabad. Many Pakistanis resent the U.S. for its interference in their affairs and may express their anger through protests, violence, or anti-American propaganda. The U.S. State Department advises its citizens to reconsider travel to Pakistan due to the risk of terrorism, kidnapping, and sectarian violence. Number 6. Turkey. Turkey is a transcontinental country that straddles Europe and Asia and has a population of about 80 million people. The country is a NATO ally of the U.S. but has also been at odds with it over several issues, such as the Syrian civil war, the Kurdish question, the Armenian genocide, and the role of Islam in politics. The country is led by Recep Tayyip Erdogan, a populist and authoritarian leader who has cracked down on dissent, media, and human rights. Erdogan has accused the U.S. of supporting a failed coup attempt against him in 2016 and of harboring his archenemy, Fethullah Gulen, a cleric and former ally who lives in exile in Pennsylvania. Erdogan has also threatened to close down the Incirlik Air Base, a strategic U.S. military facility in Turkey. Many Turks have a negative view of the U.S. and may boycott its products, burn its flags, or attack its diplomatic missions. The U.S. State Department urges its citizens to exercise increased caution when traveling to Turkey due to the risk of terrorism, arbitrary detentions, and COVID-19. Number 5. Russia. Russia is the largest country in the world by area and has a population of about 145 million people. The country is ruled by Vladimir Putin, a former KGB agent who has been in power since 2000, either as president or prime minister. Putin has been accused of meddling in the U.S. elections, hacking its institutions, spreading misinformation, and undermining its democracy. The U.S. has imposed sanctions on Russia and has confronted it over its annexation of Crimea, its intervention in Syria, its poisoning of dissidents, and its military aggression in Europe. The two countries have also engaged in a new arms race, developing hypersonic weapons and modernizing their nuclear arsenals. Many Russians distrust the U.S. and see it as a rival and a threat. The U.S. State Department advises its citizens to reconsider travel to Russia due to the risk of harassment, surveillance, arrest, and COVID-19. Number 4. China. China is the most populous country in the world, with more than 1.4 billion people and the second largest economy after the U.S. The country is governed by the Communist Party of China, which has a tight grip on power and has been accused of human rights violations, censorship, and repression. China has been involved in a trade war with the U.S. and has challenged its dominance in the fields of technology, innovation, and geopolitics. The two countries have also clashed over the origins of the coronavirus pandemic, the status of Hong Kong and Taiwan, the situation in the South China Sea, and the rights of the Uyghurs and other minorities. Many Chinese view the U.S. as an adversary and may express their nationalism and loyalty to the party through propaganda, boycotts, or cyber attacks. The U.S. State Department warns its citizens not to travel to China due to the risk of arbitrary detention, exit bans, and COVID-19. Number 3. Iraq. Iraq is a Middle Eastern country that has been ravaged by war, violence, and instability for decades. The country was invaded by the U.S.-led coalition in 2003 under the pretext of eliminating weapons of mass destruction, which were never found. The invasion toppled the regime of Saddam Hussein, but also unleashed sectarian strife, insurgency, and terrorism, resulting in hundreds of thousands of deaths and millions of refugees. The U.S. withdrew its troops from Iraq in 2011, but returned in 2014 to fight against the Islamic State, a brutal extremist group that emerged from the chaos. The U.S. also assassinated Qasem Soleimani, the Iranian general, in Baghdad in 2020, sparking a major escalation in the region. Many Iraqis resent the U.S. for its role in their country's destruction and may target its soldiers, contractors, or diplomats with rockets, bombs, or gunfire. The U.S. State Department advises its citizens not to travel to Iraq due to the risk of terrorism, kidnapping, and armed conflict. Number 2. Afghanistan. Afghanistan is a landlocked country in Central Asia that has been the scene of war, occupation, and resistance for centuries. The country was invaded by the U.S.-led coalition in 2001, following the 9/11 attacks, which were planned and executed by Al-Qaeda, a terrorist group that was based in Afghanistan and protected by the Taliban, a radical Islamist movement that ruled the country. The invasion ousted the Taliban from power, but did not eliminate them as they regrouped and waged a guerrilla war against the U.S. and its allies. The U.S. spent more than 20 years and trillions of dollars in Afghanistan trying to build a stable and democratic government and train a capable and loyal army. However, in 2021, the U.S. decided to withdraw its troops from Afghanistan, leaving behind a fragile and corrupt state that quickly collapsed under the Taliban's offensive. The Taliban regained control of the country and declared the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, a regime that is hostile to the U.S. and its values and interests. Many Afghans blame the U.S. for abandoning them and may seek revenge or justice through violence or legal action. The U.S. State Department advises its citizens not to travel to Afghanistan due to the risk of civil unrest, crime, terrorism, kidnapping, and COVID-19. Number 1. Somalia. Somalia is a Horn of Africa country that has been plagued by civil war, famine, piracy, and terrorism for decades. The country has no effective central government and is divided into regions controlled by clans, warlords, or militias. The country was invaded by the U.S.-led coalition in 1992 as part of a humanitarian intervention to end the starvation and violence caused by the collapse of the previous regime. However, the intervention soon turned into a military confrontation, as the U.S. forces faced resistance from the local warlord Mohammed Farah Aidid and his supporters. The most infamous episode was the Battle of Mogadishu in 1993, when 2 U.S. Black Hawk helicopters were shot down, and 18 U.S. soldiers and hundreds of Somalis were killed. The U.S. withdrew from Somalia in 1994, leaving behind a chaotic and lawless state that became a haven for extremist groups such as Al-Shabaab, an affiliate of Al-Qaeda, that has carried out attacks against the U.S. and its allies in the region. The U.S. has continued to conduct airstrikes and special operations in Somalia, targeting Al-Shabaab and other militants, but has also faced accusations of killing civilians and violating international law. Many Somalis resent the U.S. for its involvement in their country's affairs and may perceive Americans as invaders, occupiers, or enemies. The U.S. State Department advises its citizens not to travel to Somalia due to the risk of crime, kidnapping, terrorism, and COVID-19. So these are the top 10 countries where Americans are not welcome. Of course, this does not mean that all people in these countries hate Americans or that Americans cannot visit these countries at all. There may be exceptions, exemptions, or special circumstances that allow Americans to travel to these countries with proper precautions, permissions, and protections. However, these countries are generally considered to be hostile, dangerous, or unfriendly to Americans and should be avoided unless absolutely necessary. What do you think of this list? Do you agree or disagree with our ranking? Have you ever visited any of these countries, or would you like to? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, The Global Adventures, for more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.